I wasn't sure there was going to be a sparring match agreement that we'll spar for a while. I wasn't sure. I was honest about it. That's why he said it's going to go rounds. I wasn't sure if there was an understanding that, we'll play a little bit and then we'll get a little more and, whatever. So that was part of it.
Jake has had double jaw surgery, 4 plates, 8 screws in his, and everybody is just kind of breezing past that like it's no big deal. But I'm looking further into this because that's no easy surgery, and I'm starting to ask the question, is this the beginning of the end of Jake Paul's boxing career?
As his brother, I was just shocked. I'm in the hospital with the guy, and he's like, yo, can you make this TikTok? Can you film this for me? He's like laughing and having a good time.
On the agenda against Anthony Joshua, because it feels to me like that fight, I before the fight, I was refusing to accept the principle that this fight could be scripted.
The boxing world has exploded with reactions after Anthony Joshua badly hurt Jake Paul in the ring. Some fans and experts even said Joshua should be arrested because of the damage he caused. Jake suffered serious injuries, including a broken jaw that required surgery and metal screws. Critics say the fight was a dangerous mismatch and that Joshua's power went far beyond what was safe. The level of damage shocked both fans and professionals, raising serious questions about fighter safety and matchmaking.
Away from the power, you could call it running, and you'll be right. You can also say it's smart for a guy Jake's size and understanding that AJ is a fucking monster. It's also smart to fight that way. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing.
Boxing analysts Brian Campbell and Shaka Majwi broke down Jake Paul's fight with Anthony Joshua in detail. They explained how Joshua's power caused major damage, eventually leading to Jake needing jaw surgery. To survive, Jake relied heavily on movement, constantly circling the ring to avoid being trapped on the ropes. While this approach wasn't aggressive, it helped him last longer than expected. The analysts said Jake's defense and footwork showed smart survival tactics, but Joshua's strength still caused visible injuries. The fight highlighted both the value of defense and the risks of mismatched opponents.
This be the end for him in terms of what he's doing in the boxing ring.
Listen, so long as people will tune in and so long as Jake Paul is paid by Netflix or any broadcaster to air his fights, we're going to see this continue. And Jake Paul knows his business model. Right now, this deviated, this AJ fight, which came together kind of last minute after the Tank Davis fight fell apart. But we know Jake Paul's MO here. It's find the most popular guy with the most physical disadvantages for me to fight. And Jake Paul has the benefit that he's turned himself into a villain, or in the pro wrestling circles, a heel. People tune in to what we did not tune into this fight to see competitive boxing. Most of us tuned in because we thought, here's Anthony Joshua. Here is a 2-time unified heavyweight champion, a guy who physically just overwhelms Jake Paul. And we're finally going to get what Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz were not physically fit, whether it be through their size, experience, or age, to do. And that is knock out Jake Paul. And so because I don't really feel like we got that satisfying comeuppance that a lot of people have been waiting for, it kind of gives Jake Paul a little bit of mystique, I'd almost say, to still try and string this along. Now, I don't know in terms, he says he wants to be cruiserweight champion. I'm not quite sure what the competitive road there is, because let's make no mistake, the reason this fight lasted as long as it did is because Jake Paul focused exclusively on being elusive. He did his best, and kudos to him, right? He did a great job of not getting cornered. He was always on the gas until the gas sort of fell out from underneath him. And so I don't quite know, short of leveraging his popularity, how he's going to get to that title shot if he's not actually going to fight, like really fight an elite boxer. But if he's looking to make money, there's the KSI fight out there, there's the Tommy Fury rematch, there is ways.
Former UFC champion Michael Bisping reacted strongly to Jake Paul's loss, calling it a clear example of elite professional boxing. He said Jake was completely outmatched by Joshua's power, precision, and combinations. AJ's uppercuts and pressure left Jake with very little space to escape. Bisping explained that Jake's broken jaw was the result of facing a much bigger, stronger, and more skilled opponent than ever before. He added that hype and trash talk cannot prepare someone for the reality of fighting a true heavyweight champion.
My humble opinion, because I'm a big Anthony Joshua fan. Of course, I've been a supporter for the longest time. A rather lackluster, unmotivated Anthony Joshua that didn't look like he was being particularly nasty, right? A lot of the time he was out of range, and okay, it is hard to land a shot on someone that's backing up and moving away the whole time. And there was a lot of times where he had him in the corner and he could have thrown a shot. And sometimes he was telegraphing his shots. And anytime he did go in to throw a punch, as I said before, Jake Paul would shoot in and turn it into a wrestling match. And even when he wasn't shooting in, he was clinching a lot. This is boxing. It's not MMA, as we know. The referee should have done a much better job of getting in there and separating them much, much faster. As I say, it was the 6th round. I think it was the 4th round he got dropped twice. In the 5th round, he got through it. In the 6th round, caught him with the jab and a glancing right hook. He goes down, and that was that. That was all she wrote, right? I did a live. There was about 9,000 people watching at one point. Nobody was particularly enjoying the matchup. Listen, okay? I respect both men. I respect anyone really that steps into the ring, okay? And certainly going up against Anthony Joshua, that was a tall task, okay? You know, metaphorically and figuratively, right? It was a tall task. It was a big job. It was a tough opponent. It was a mismatch, and it was, right? Jake Paul never worried Anthony Joshua once. He never rung his bell. He never caused any damage. He never had him worried. He never did anything. It wasn't a fight. It was a display of how long can Jake Paul last? Can he run away long enough?
After the fight, reports revealed that both Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua earned around $92 million each, making it one of the biggest boxing paydays ever streamed on Netflix. However, Joshua's earnings were hit hard by taxes. Because he is a UK resident fighting in the US, he must pay both US and UK taxes, losing an estimated $66 million. Jake Paul, as a US fighter, avoids this extra tax burden and keeps much more of his money despite losing. This shows how headline numbers often don't reflect real take-home pay.
Has to pay, as you see here, a whopping $43 million. $43 million of his $92 million purse. That means Anthony Joshua was left with $49 million. Right? Now, he also has to pay, I believe, 10% of that to his promoter, Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn.
Dominic Angle gave a blunt opinion on the fight. He said Jake's main goal was to avoid exchanges, not to trade punches. This made it hard for Joshua to fully corner him. Even after taking a strong right hand, Jake showed toughness by staying calm. Angle also said Joshua didn't need to go full power in an 8-round fight, because Jake wasn't a serious threat. He explained that top fighters often perform only at the level needed to beat their opponent. When Joshua landed clean shots, Jake felt them, but overall, Jake survived due to defense and Joshua's controlled approach.
And AJ's not the best at closing people off, and it's hard chasing somebody down who don't want to engage. And then he tagged him every now and again. So
does it look bad on him because there's one right hook that he took was a serious shot, but obviously he didn't flinch from it. But the fact
not really, because you'll take into consideration that you can get. There won't be there'll be no way. Well, Anthony Joshua thought, if he hits me, there's a possibility he's going to work me. I felt a couple of shots early on in the fight. There's no way Jake Paul at the level he's at, I know his box and what he's done, that he's, and it's like AJ, like you say, he's got to have completely gone and be punch drunk for Jake Paul to beat him. After the last fight against Dubois, people think, well, his jaw's gone there, he can't take a shot. Of course he can take a shot. And it's weighing up the opposition, and he weighed up the opposition. And he's not going to be training like he trained for Usyk or for the big fights. He won't do that because they can't get motivated enough to do it. They'll do enough to do the rounds. What was it, an 8-rounder?
Yeah.
So, same again. So he did enough. He never looked in any trouble. It didn't look great, but Tyson Fury didn't look great against Ngannou, did he? But who did he box after Ngannou?
So Usyk?
Exactly. But you would have never thought, looking at the performance against Ngannou with Tyson, you would never have thought that he put in the performance he did against Usyk.
So you think it's more of a case of you kind of, no matter how good you are and how much you train, if the opposition isn't great, you sometimes
you're going to box at the level of the opponent because the opponent makes you fight at that level.
That's quite a fair.
So, but when AJ did do what he got to.
Surviving a fighter like Anthony Joshua takes real courage, and the fight reminded everyone how dangerous boxing truly is. Hype alone cannot prepare someone for elite competition. After the fight, emotions exploded when Jake Paul's mother publicly threatened Anthony Joshua and promoter Eddie Hearn. She was furious, saying Hearn smiled while her son was taking punishment. She felt the fight should have been stopped earlier. While many fans found her reaction extreme, others understood her fear and anger after seeing the damage Jake suffered.
Eddie Hearn, for instance. Yeah.
Why? Why Eddie Hearn?
Because I don't like his smug face.
You don't like his smug face?
No. Literally thinks he's better than everybody in the world.
Eating grin.
Jake's over there, like, struggling, and he's sitting over there smiling like the cat who swallowed the canary. Guess what? Did he fucking get in the ring?
Do you think he was happy with what happened to Jake?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
Now, this is coming from a mother too, guys. So I just want y'all to understand it. This is a mom. But at the end of the day, it's his job to laugh. Because hell, I was laughing at Jake Paul. I can't even lie. I'm not a big Jake Paul fan. But, part of the process. We got to report on this stuff. But Mama Paul, hella man.
God, and that's sickening to me. It's sick. I don't like it. Even Anthony Joshua had some class and, apologized to me.
Did he really?
Yeah. He worked his way through the crowd and came up to me and said, Mom, just know it's just boxing.